Maybe some people at the other side might be brilliant enough to express that, but at least I'm not that way. I would not know how to judge what is there in somebody else's mind, right? So whatever emotion it is, it's a humble request. Maybe this is the message to be taken from this podcast, that express all your emotions. Hi everybody, welcome back to the Manifesta podcast. And today is going to be one of the best episodes. Now, why is it going to be the best episodes? Because we are going to answer some amazing questions which our viewers have put forth to us. Basically, they just wanted to know about relationships and also few other manifestation technique. So keep watching.
Hi Chechi, how are you doing today?
Great, Ginny. Because basically I'm very, very excited about today's episode. Okay, so I think we are ready for an interesting podcast, and also our viewers are going to be really ready.
Yeah.
So shoot those questions.
Yes, I want to ask about the interesting topic. Let's discuss more about the manifestation methods first. And I think mirror technique would be an interesting topic. Yeah. And I want you to explain more about the mirror technique, please.
Okay, Ginny, I have two very, very, I must say these techniques have changed my life a lot. In the last podcast, I told about the 369 method, but that I would just want to tell the viewers that when we discuss about methods, it is just it just makes it a little easier to tune yourself to get attached to your goals frequently. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you use these methods, the idea is how well you align yourself with your purpose. So just randomly writing using the 369 method, just simply visualizing without feeling and all that doesn't make any good. Yeah. Okay, so now coming to your question, the mirror technique. That's one of my favorite techniques, okay? After visualization and 369 and all, mirror technique is something which I do in the morning and before going to bed. Okay. Now, you must try this. We would have heard about this, many celebrities doing that, going in front of the mirror and talking to themselves.
I've heard Alia Bhatt saying she won the Oscar or the Grammy. Correct. Or something like that. Yeah.
Many people have tried that. Now, how I do this is like early in the morning, I get up. Okay, now before brushing, I would just look into the mirror for some time. Okay. The fun part of this is when you deeply start looking at yourself, emotions start coming up. Okay. Now if you're really getting involved in that process, sometimes you look at yourself and you realize that how strong you are. Have you ever felt that way, Ginny? I mean, when you look at yourself and you're like, oh my God, I have traveled so far and I feel really proud about myself.
Yes, indeed, yeah.
So that's the idea behind that. Just a couple of minutes or maybe a few seconds, if you don't have so much of patience, you just look and try to sink in yourself.
I think we all will be fresh once we wake up and...
Correct.
Yeah.
So, and when you look, you just get deeper to yourself. And after that, the next method is even more, the next step rather, is even more good. Start talking positive things to yourself. Like, when I used to take these sessions in school, I used to ask these children like, okay, what do you feel when you look at the mirror? There were many kids who told me that, ma'am, I just hate myself in the mirror. Okay? Basically, they don't like their looks. Probably they don't like the way they carry themselves or whatever it is, or they're dejected in life. But then I would tell them, try to do it the other way. Okay, think of all the blessings which you have.
Okay.
Think of every hurdles which you have passed. And when you're concentrating on yourself, be proud about yourself. Okay, so for a couple of minutes, you just, look in the mirror and start saying positive things, which you have done.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is one thing. And then the third part is, talking about your goal. Now,
Okay.
I used to have this habit. I used to literally, like I said, I always wanted, to be a good speaker. Okay, in front of people. I love to speak to a crowd. That is something which I used to visualize when I was young. People used to laugh at me because I was very shy. But then for some reason, I used to look into the mirror and, enact such things. Okay, so that's something which I still do. I love talking to people. And any goal which you have, behave as if you've just, that goal is done.
Okay. As if
Okay,
you
now
have
for
received
example,
it. Yeah.
to give an example, now I just see myself as a very inspirational speaker, touching hearts. And I visualize that. You can even enact that because that's your personal space. You don't have to feel shy, you don't have to feel dejected, or you don't have to feel like, oh my God, if somebody is really looking at us. You don't have to feel conscious. You're talking to yourself. So that's the next process. And then you feel very thankful about every blessing in your life. So the crux is when you leave out of that bathroom, you come as a whole new person who is going to look at the day in a very positive way. Okay, that is how my mirror technique goes. And sometimes, like when I do the same process before going to bed, sometimes you tend to get a little emotional because maybe you had a bad day, but at the end of the day, you pulled it out well and you feel happy about it. And even if you have to feel emotional, so be it. Cry out a little bit. I always believe that, never stop your tears. Do you agree to that?
I do. I really believe in venting out.
I think we both are, we love expressing.
Yes.
Okay, so yes. So if you have to cry, cry it out, feel refreshed and come out. Go to bed with positive thoughts. So that is my favorite method, to feel completely, different from if you had a bad day. It just switches the entire, entire self into something more positive. Okay. Then the next method is, have you heard of the water technique?
I've heard about it.
Interesting. Okay. Now, I would not go to the details of that. Probably some other, episode, I would break it into different parts and talk in detail about the water technique. But that's very simple. It is like you take a glass of water, okay, and hold it with your hand. I'm sure many of us would have seen that in many channels.
Yes.
Okay, so hold it with your hand and look into the water and you feel grateful. Okay, you think good, positive thoughts. Think of your goal, visualize your goal, couple of seconds or a minute or so, and really feel great about yourself and sip the water. Okay. So basically that also kind of makes you feel very refreshed. Okay, that's one technique. Now, like I said before, in every technique, please don't randomly do it. Okay, you just thought about your goal and you just sip the water and then magic is going to happen. No, it's not going to happen that way. You have to feel it. You have to really visualize it and then do it. Okay. Basically, it's all a belief that everything is it is already worked out for you.
I think water technique, it's more like the water energy, right?
Yes, the water energy is immense and it's very, very, very powerful. I will explain it in another episode. Okay, a detailed episode on that. Then,
Chechi, when we do this mirror technique, is it only like saying the positive thoughts, like
I said, like how I said, when I go back to sleep and when I look into the mirror before that, you will have lots of things to vent out.
Okay.
You'll have lots of things where you get emotional. You feel that, okay, I had a bad day. I would have said something bad to somebody. It's like you're seeking for forgiveness. Okay. That brings me to the Ho'oponopono prayer. Okay. That.
And is it also like we can say the affirmations through this mirror method?
Anything which can leave you positive. Okay. Basically, it is talking to yourself, seeing yourself in a positive way. Okay. Because you're going to come out of that washroom as a different person. Okay, so that's basically, I mean, it's like talking to yourself. That's the technique.
Okay.
You are giving positive energy to yourself.
Simple words.
Okay, in simple words, that's the whole point. Because in front of the mirror, you're not going to see anybody else. Okay, you're going to see yourself. So it's like, plunging into your thoughts, cleansing your mind. So these are the things. Okay. So that is about the techniques.
Yeah.
Now coming to the most interesting topic. And Ginny has some
I have no idea
interesting.
I have no idea.
You have questions. So she's going to shoot the questions and hopefully I make you happy. Yeah, that's the whole point. Yes.
I want you to explain about that Ho'oponopono prayer.
That is, basically, that's also going to come up in another episode.
Okay.
But I would just give you a gist. It is the 4 statements. Okay. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. These are the 4 statements. Now I'll make it a little more interesting. Okay. Now if suppose we had a couple fight, let's say. Okay.
Yeah,
very usual,
obvious.
right? Usual.
Very.
So you feel like literally tearing your spouse or whatever. At that time, I know it's very difficult to say these 4 statements, but try doing it. Okay?
Yeah.
You just think of him or her, okay? And you say these 4 lines. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Try it.
Does this work all the time? I mean, it's
No,
very
now that's another,
It's
very
very
interesting,
difficult to say
very
sorry
interesting
sometimes.
points, which we
Yeah.
just, said now. Before doing any technique, believe in it. Okay. Now, it's a very genuine thought. Does it work? We all think like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Before you start doing any technique, okay, now does it look fake? If that thought, that doubt comes in you, then it's for sure it's not going to
For
work.
me, like the mirror technique, I don't do it every day, but whenever I do it, it gives me kind of a boost or like
That's
a
one
confidence.
One of my favorite technique, maybe because most of the time I'm in front of the mirror.
Yeah.
Most of the girls are like always, women love the mirror.
Yeah.
So, and also around the mirror, you can see, so many, I have put so many
Sticky
affirmations,
notes?
the sticky notes, that gives a lot of energy. I mean, you just randomly read Bible quotes or any quotes which gives you positive energy when you look at the mirror or, any place where you spend most of your time. Okay, stick these sticky notes.
Yeah.
Like you might just walk into that spot with so much of depression, but when you read such things, when you read such positive quotes, at least for me, it gives me a lot of courage.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is about the mirror technique.
Okay, now let's come to the beautiful topic, interesting topic. I mean, most of the viewers have asked to discuss more about this particular topic, relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have just set like around 3 questions. So my first question is, how much does appreciation help in a relationship, and how relevant it is being appreciated or giving your partner or your spouse appreciation for whatever they have done?
Okay, so now I'll ask you one question. Do you love to be appreciated?
Of course. For each and everything. I mean, like, be it work, be it in a relationship, I think everyone loves getting appreciated.
Jenny, that's the basic thing in this. I would bluntly say that I love to be appreciated for whatever good deeds I do. Yeah. When people hear this, maybe they might think that, what does an appreciation do? You just know that you've done it good. Yeah. So why do you want others to tell that to you?
Yeah.
You make your own self,
I've seen people like that.
Yeah. So the point here is, those words of appreciation, at least talking about myself, when somebody says that, okay, Shiny, you have done this, or let's say about this podcast, okay, Shiny, you have done this good, or you both have really, done the whole podcast so beautifully. What is that feeling which you get? You feel really refreshed.
Yes.
You feel motivated.
Yeah.
Okay.
You feel motivated to do more videos.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the whole energy which appreciation gives.
Yes.
Now, I have seen people saying that, what's there? You just look into my eyes and, or, You just look at me, you know that you've done well. So why do you need to be appreciated?
Okay.
Now, I wouldn't go with that because I think you can resonate to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It is like, I love when love is expressed,
Yes.
emotions are expressed.
Yes.
Okay? We have people who say that, okay, everything is there in the heart. Everything is there in the heart. I don't believe that.
Don't believe in that.
Everything might be there in the heart, for sure. No doubt about it. But sometimes you have to show it. In fact, if you ask me, every time you have to express. Because unless you express, you wouldn't know.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe some people at the other side might be brilliant enough to express that, but at least I'm not that way. I would not know how to judge what is there in somebody else's mind.
Correct.
Right? So whatever emotion it is, it's a humble request. Maybe this is the message to be taken from this podcast, that express all your emotions.
I think the next question is very relevant, being appreciated, or I don't know what is running in the other person's mind, right?
True.
So the next question would be regarding the expectations in a relationship. So my next question is, are keeping expectations in a relationship, is it right or wrong?
If you're ready to get hurt, please keep expectations. If you're bold enough to, take that little bit of damage or, that hurt, please expect. I would say keep your expectations really, minimal.
Okay.
Okay? Because the truth is that, at least I have learned in my life, because I was a person who gets attached to people very strongly. Okay? And I have got n number of hurts regarding that. Why? Because probably the other person is not wrong, but you have set the expectations so high that, the moment they don't behave the way you want, it's all tarnished. So basically, it might not be their fault, but you have seen them that way. You have given that place. So I would say expect a lot from yourself. Does that make sense? Start expecting from yourself.
But I think it's very tough to get into that kind of mode. I mean,
Correct.
Setting expectation very less or minimal.
Correct.
I
Because
think
it's
that happens
human
through
that-
the life experience, over age. Yeah.
Because I didn't know that before. I mean, when I have a friend, I would just, randomly, I think we all can, relate to that. Like you would think that, okay, he or she will be this way. You will have some conversations and you will have that, you will judge, okay, fine, this person is going to be this way. If that person doesn't become that way, then suddenly you just feel hurt. Oh, why the person is not that way? So better that, even when you're in a relationship or anything, be it friendship or anything, try to focus on how to improve yourself or try to expect more from yourself. Safer.
Okay. Yeah.
Because what happens there, Ginny, if you expect more from yourself, you can see yourself growing. Okay, that is something which is very important and that makes you get less hurt. Now, what happens is when there's a relationship or there's friendship, when you get hurt, and that's when the person starts to take it as a challenge and, start growing.
Okay.
But if we did it before itself, the whole process turns out to be easy. It's tough. It's very tough.
very tough,
It's
yeah.
very tough. But then if you can, tune your brains towards that, then yes, every relationship would be easy to handle. We'll have less of heartbreaks. We'll be able to understand the person. Okay, now, even when I say this, I still feel very hurt and upset about different people. We all have gone through that. So if we start growing within ourselves, change our thoughts, then it's way better to handle.
So the change should happen within us.
Within us. Okay. Now, it's easy to say that, but then, sometimes, the universe is also very, very smart at times. It'll try to give you a lesson. Okay. First time it'll give you a hit, you will not learn. Second time it'll give you a hit, you will still not learn. Third time also it'll give you a hit, you will still not learn. Then it'll give you a blast.
Okay.
Then you wake up.
And then you realize.
Then you realize, then then the person which you become, the way you just, some people tarnish there. They just literally die there. But there are some people who just rise up as the phoenix. And you can literally see a different person. Okay? So my thought process would be, don't wait for that hit. If you know that something is going wrong, because this is my life experience. I would have cared, I would have been very concerned about people. And then finally, after getting the hit, then I realize that, oh my God, it has gone way too far. Then you start changing yourself. Then you feel little difficult, to get back all those pieces together to bloom up again. Okay, so now that is something which, if you can do it at the earlier stages, like to answer to your questions, set your expectation nil or minimal, at least minimal, so that even if the person doesn't behave the way you want, because I have learned in my life that you cannot change anybody. If somebody wants to change me, there is, I have a character, I have a, there's a person in me, I have the way, I have certain set of patterns which I handle. So if somebody comes to change me in that, maybe it's not easy. But yeah, maybe if I want to change, then I change. That's all. Before, what I used to do is we all would have done that, like chase behind friendships, chase behind people, So now after a couple of years, when you start maturing, you will understand that it's better to just let go, let them be the way they want.
Okay. So keep the expectation very minimal. Keep the expectation
minimal. That's what I'm still learning. Okay. I should say I'm still learning that process, because it's not easy. Yeah. But once you master that, once you get into the theory of let them be the way they want, and then life is much peaceful. Yeah. Okay. None of us are convinced with that let them theory, because to get into that theory, it takes lot of hard work. I would say a lot of patience. Yeah, that's the word. A lot of patience, lot of, even when I say this, sometimes you get into the mode like, okay, you still feel like chasing. You still feel like going behind. Yeah. You still feel like, that brings me to the point. Like when somebody approaches you with a need, I don't know if you have experienced that as well. They will come, asking for a need or help. But you will help them, but you will not stop it there. You would still get concerned. Have you gone through something like that? And then at the end of the story, they would have moved further in their journey.
Yes.
But you're still helping them. Yeah. You're still helping them, not helping yourself. You're still helping them.
Correct.
Okay? Yeah. So I'm sure, see, that's how humans are. Yeah. But there'll be a point, Ginny, where we'll be convinced. We will have to get convinced that we need to understand our self-worth. We need to give importance to ourselves. Okay? So the point when you realize that, then the whole game changes. You feel that you will become a different person altogether. Okay? And then you will start loving yourself.
Yeah.
You will automatically get convinced that this is what I want.
Yeah.
This is how I will be. It is not like how others want me to be, but this is how I will be. Yeah. And that magic, that thought will, you will see yourself physically changing as well.
Yeah.
People say that people will see you as a different person altogether.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, because that's the magic of self-growth. When you start growing within yourself, when you feel that no challenges can suppress you, you're still strong, whatever the challenge is, you just still bloom. And people will be surprised, how do you even bloom when you have this kind of a challenge? So what happens? You become a survival guide for many. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like, when you, like I said about my baby's episode the first time, like, it was a survival guide for many other people. Right. when they shared their story, it became a survival guide for me. Like, okay, how do I survive? So that's the magic of when you start growing within yourself.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a beauty of it. The moment you learn that, then it's good. You will feel good. You don't need anybody to make you feel better. You would just grow within
It's
yourself.
just
But then again,
Yeah.
we all love to be appreciated. At the end of it, even if there's one friend who comes and says that, Shiny, I'm inspired by you. Or somebody comes and tells you, Ginny, you really inspired me.
Yes.
As humans, we all feel happy.
I think we all feel very happy when
We feel
someone
motivated.
says,
We feel motivated.
motivated when someone says, you are inspiring me, or like, I like your so-and-so. Like, feel motivated.
That's very, and I would say, if you see something good in somebody, please do appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because many a times, Ginny, that has happened to me, like I have missed to appreciate certain people in my life. And, later I will realize, oh, I should have actually done that. And then, even if you go back later and tell them, okay, thank you for, being this way. It creates a lot of magic, maybe we would have had a fight, but when you go back and you say that, or the word sorry, I'm sorry, it makes a lot of magic, It really, like whatever anger you have, that's like the prayer which I just said, When you say that, okay, I'm sorry, but to come into that phase, it's a little difficult. Like you said, like we have to get convinced. But once you get convinced, again, it's all a matter of self-growth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next question is regarding the toxicity. So how do we identify whether we are in a toxic relationship?
Some people are very brilliant to understand that in the beginning itself. But me as a person, I took a lot of time to, sometimes you get people in your life, friends basically, who can just drain you out. You can just, drain your emotions, but still you care. Okay, but still you don't want to leave. But still you feel sympathetic, empathetic towards them. Okay? But whenever you think of a relation, if you can go back home and sleep peacefully, thinking of that person, then that relationship gives you peace. Okay. Else, there is something which needs to be changed about it. Okay, something to be improved about it. So the crux is, if any relationship gives you peace, then it's not really toxic. As simple as that.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
now
especially maybe with the ladies, they don't understand if they are in a toxic relation or not. So any advice for...
this is the only advice. Only advice. If that particular relationship, doesn't give you peace, then instead of just branding it like, okay, this is the toxic relation, but try to improve. If it's still not working, then there's something which needs to be, you need to come out of it probably. But sometimes people take a lot of time to understand that. Yeah. So that is, that damage can do, it can just tear you apart many a times. When it comes to friendships, basically. Okay. So just be vigilant. Like I said in my previous podcast, do not overdo anything for anybody. Okay. Do not forget your self-worth to bring happiness to anyone. Okay. Why? Because you also grow within. If you're able to do that, then it's fine. Okay. But don't only concentrate on the other person. You also grow in the journey. Because why? You would just surprise yourself seeing that they would have grown and you would be still trying to make them grow. And you wouldn't have grown within. Okay? So that is very important. Yeah.
I think we should understand our self-worth and grow ourselves.
Yeah, correct. Now, when you get emotionally drained, how do you come out of it?
I went it out.
Okay, that's one thing. Okay.
And I pray.
You pray. You pray to the divine energy. Okay, that's even more healing.
Yes.
I mean, that's something personally I truly believe, that anything which you have to vent out, even though many people might not be listening to you, but there is somebody up above,
Yes.
okay, listening
I
to
truly
you.
believe in that.
And he does magic, right?
Sometimes if I'm emotionally drained out, I need to figure it out, like I need to express it. For me, the best way is expressing it. So I express it, I vent it out, and I pray. I pray very hard.
And once you told me
Love
that you do this writing to the universe, right?
Yes.
You have done that, no?
Yes.
Even I have done that. Like sometimes, when you, be it anger, be it sadness, happiness, everything, I have this habit of, journaling.
Yeah.
That also helps a lot.
If I don't express it, I'll just keep it within myself. And that creates a very big problem. So I rather vent it out, I leave it. That's how I do it.
That's the best way. I mean, that's something which is the best way to handle such situations, because please do not keep it to yourself, to a point where you will just completely lose yourself. So even if it's the smallest thing, try to express
I think even
it.
if you don't express it or vent it out, if you don't say that, when you keep it within yourself, that creates a gap.
Correct.
So I believe in that creates a gap, and that can lead to many other problems.
Yes.
So I think
I would
just
just
express it.
simply go with what you said, because that is the thing. Expression is everything. Expression of emotions very much needed, and especially in the world today. Like when people don't want to talk to each other, they don't want to express, and they feel like, okay, I've already spoken to this person, so there's nothing more to say. Try doing it again. Maybe this time you will win, or this time you will be able to make the other person understand. So don't lose chances like that. We never know what's going to happen the next moment. We've been hearing a lot of sad news everywhere in this world.
Yeah.
So cherish each moment. And, this podcast is very, very special for us, because like I rightly said, none of us know what's going to happen the next minute, right? So each moment is very special, and words have power. Have you heard about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So whatever you speak, it has a lot of power. And so speak good. And even if you have to speak bad somewhere, you be the person to go and apologize.
This is something that I have been improving.
Correct.
That's on my journey, that do not speak bad about anything.
Correct.
And think good, think positive.
Yeah.
Like everyone says, think positive, think good. As you say, like thoughts become things. So I believe in that. So
all your
think
thoughts
good.
become your reality. So let the reality be beautiful, right?
Yeah.
So thank you so much, my ever-loving viewers, because we've got so much of support from all our friends and family, and this is a new podcast. So we would really love you to subscribe to the channel, and please keep the podcast in press. Bye-bye.